Hello and welcome to the Autistic Experience, your one-stop shop podcast for neurodivergent news, commentary, random stuff, and quite a lot of brain strangeness.
Thought you were just going to leave it brain. Quite a lot of brain.
Oh, and I'm planning on keeping that pause in. Just to demonstrate what we're talking about. My name is Kieran, as always joined by Chloe.
Hello.
Hello. New episodes of this come out every Sunday at midday British time, and you can also go follow us on Instagram at The Autistic Experience for references to all the articles and events we talk about. If you've never listened to the show before, what we like to do is have a look to find any news stories or articles that are about neurodivergent folk, written by neurodivergent folk, or written for neurodivergent folk. And then also we go and have a look at some of the events which are coming up in the next week in the UK, also for us lot. But for the sake of seeming like human beings, we, as always, are going to start with what we've been up to in a section we've rather unimaginatively been calling Home News.
Home News.
So what have we been up to this week?
Well, this week, I've done a lot of food making things, haven't I?
You have. You made some croissants.
I did. Properly. It took me about 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
But they came out really well, so I'm very proud of myself. And I'm feeling super empowered.
You kept calling yourself a hero last night.
It's because I am. Because I managed to laminate the pastry. Yeah, so I made some kick-ass croissants. And I've also been making quite a lot of cheese
You have.
in the last week.
Yeah, you kind of decided to make a cheese that you didn't like.
Yeah, well, it's just because I wanted to do it so I could say I've done it, you know?
Yeah, but now we've got a load of cheese in the fridge which you don't like.
Well, you can have it.
Yeah, but I'm not that fond of it either.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll just get rid of it.
So what effectively you did was make a cheese to prove that you didn't like it.
Yeah, well, I made a cheese to make the cheese because I thought it was fun. And then I just didn't want to eat it afterwards.
I mean, could you not have made a cheese that we'd like?
Yeah, next time.
Next time I will make a cheese that we can eat.
I wasn't sure whether I liked it or not when I've tried it before. But having tried this one that I've made, I've decided that I don't like it at all. So, yeah, I personally feel like my week's been quite productive. I tried to do that thing that we spoke about on the last episode, the dopamine menu, if you heard about it. If you didn't, go and listen to it. I tried to make myself one of those, which started well and then went downhill very quickly.
Descended into madness.
Yeah, like I made some notes on my phone of ideas to go on it. And then when it came to actually putting it onto a paper, like, menu thing, I thought, I'll design it so it looks like a proper restaurant menu. And I got partway through writing my kind of meal choices down, and then I just got really fed up, and I ended up kind of scrawling some things and then throwing it in the bin. So I didn't have the patience to finish the dopamine menu.
Which is the cruel irony of it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but at least I've got it on my phone still. I think it was also because it wasn't looking very good, and it wasn't looking as nice as I wanted it to, as in, you know, like a flawless, perfect menu. And so I thought, oh, well, screw it then. I'm not going to finish it. I think that's more or less been my week.
And as we found out, my week has been negligible. So let's see how other people's weeks have been getting on as we start looking at some of the articles which have piqued our curiosity. And the first article we're going to look at today was from the Wiltshire Times, and it was published on the 28th of January. And The title is Boy Raises Awareness of Autism with Postbox Piglets Competition. So, there's a 12-year-old.
Cool,
yeah. And then the next story...
that is all.
That was it. There is a 12-year-old. But no, so there's a 12-year-old who's autistic, ADHD, and he's got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is kind of quite a lot of hypermobility.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while now, he's been making tiny little piglet ornaments for the last 2 years, apparently, to raise money for charities. And he's raised, it says, around £1,000, which is pretty solid.
Good,
I
yeah.
can't say I've managed to raise that much by myself for any reason. Folks, we're about 3 seconds away from Chloe mentioning the word Kilimanjaro.
Well, actually, I'm not going to say it now. Fair play to him, because raising £1,000 for charity is hard. I can say from experience. There you go.
So right now, they're running a competition to win one of 10 handmade neurodiversity pigs, which are all very sweet. Let me show you a picture.
Picture.
A picture, yeah.
Yes, they're very cute and rainbowy and cute.
Yeah. One of 10 to win, and details for that are on postboxpiglets.co.uk.
I can tell you the details if you want, because I looked into it.
I'm sure you did.
Because I was going to enter, because I want a pig. Basically, all they want you to do is like post their post about the competition onto your own social media. So share it, link it, put it on a story, and sort of maybe comment on who you would want to win a pig for and why. And that's pretty much all you have to do. And then if you do win one, they just ask that you take a picture with it so that they can post all the winners together on social media afterwards. So it's pretty easy to enter. It's more than that as well, isn't it? Because it says later on that actually crafting for him is quite painful.
Yeah.
Because of his conditions. That he's like, it causes kind of, as you said, hypermobility and like stiffness and stuff in your joints, doesn't it? And so him actually using his hands to create these tiny things is quite uncomfortable for him, but it also helps kind of keep his hands kind of mobile and work his like fine motor control and stuff like that, isn't it? So he's doing it because he enjoys it, and he's doing it to raise money, which is really good. But there's that added kind of level of difficulty for him, I suppose, that I think makes it even more cool that he's doing it.
Also, I've just found out that even if you don't win the competition, you can just buy them.
Oh,
for
cool!
£3.50 each.
It's pretty sweet.
So if you don't fancy your chances of winning a competition, which is fair enough, then you could just buy them and also support the cause directly.
Yeah. Support Reese, his name is, isn't it? Support Reese and his little project, and also their pigs. And we all love. Well, I love pigs. Pigs are cute.
Very pig positive on this program.
Go and buy all the pigs now. Thank you.
Yeah, that's basically your attitude towards guinea pigs as well.
Go
multiple
buy all
times
pigs.
you said, I want all of the guinea pigs.
Yeah, I want all the pigs. Big and small.
Pigs, big and small. Auntie Chloe wants them all.
That's a very small pig, so it counts though. It's still a small pig. Pocket pig.
All right, let's move on to the second article we've got, which was published on the 27th of January on watoday.com.au. Boy, Australian websites. Just have a .au. Like, it's not difficult.
Gosh.
Why do you need .com.au? Strange place. And the article's title is Can't Stand Tags and Tight Waistbands, Try Sensory Friendly Clothing. To which everyone would just say, Duh.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is, as this article kind of goes into, is that sensory-friendly clothing is not really a thing.
No, well, not on purpose,
Yeah, like,
per se. But it's like going, can't stand drowning, try swimming.
yeah. But I mean, the kind of point that it makes is that sensory-friendly clothing could be more widespread. But, like, it also kind of says that it's not going to be, which is sort of true.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you consider the idea that, like, I think it's still about 1% of people are autistic.
Mm.
So it's not going to be profitable.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
And then, each of us have our own very specific sensory needs when it comes to clothing. So if you went, oh, it's a sensory-friendly brand, it might not necessarily work for. You might have only given it to a couple of people who all liked it, but maybe they were, the minority when it comes to that particular thing. Like microfiber, for instance. It can be fine, but it can also be very awful. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, there's a few things that I definitely related to in this article. And that basically there was a mention that this person actually just lives basically in like active wear clothing. And like, I totally understand that. As soon as I read it, I was like, I get it, because it's not like constricting in any way. And it's high-waisted. That's a really important thing. I hate not high-waisted trousers because they just feel really like constricting around my tummy. And I like them to be nice and high and sit right up. And I also don't like it when, like if you bend down or if you're doing stuff during the day, if your trousers kind of slip down a bit and you end up with a gap in between your trouser waistband and your top. Like, that really bothers me for some reason. So if you have high-waisted trousers, then you kind of avoid that somewhat. And, it was saying about how things like that can be like a distraction for people and can reduce productivity. And, it can even make, say, kids with autism, neurodivergent kids, take longer to get dressed and things because they don't like putting their clothes on. And it's like all this stuff was just like reading about myself, because I know when I'm at work, if my clothes are uncomfortable, if I feel like my waistband isn't in the right place, or if there's a gap between my trousers and my top, it drives me insane. And like, I want to go and sort it out, and it just really annoys me. Same thing as like if I'm getting dressed, and sometimes I will have you know what I'm like with real issues with putting my trousers on, because I'll get them to a certain point and then I just don't want to go any further because it feels like too much effort and it's too constricting. And so the thing about kids, taking longer to get dressed because the clothes are uncomfortable. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, and like, especially with tags and labels and things.
Yeah, they're the notorious baddies, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the first things to go whenever I get any sort of new t-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, they don't bother me as much in t-shirts, but they get me in trousers. Like if there's a tag in the back of your trousers and it's pressing kind of like on your lower back or something. No.
Gotta go.
Hatred.
I mean, it makes things difficult when you need to try and find out what size you are.
Yeah. That's why it's nice when, like the article said, if companies print the size tag on the actual clothes. I like that.
Yeah, other things some companies do is have like sort of stickers, like fabric-y stickers.
Yeah.
That can just be peeled off.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a tough one because it's, like you said, it's very specific. And I think there's probably some things like the tags that irritate most of us. But there's other things that would be quite particular, and that's never going to necessarily be introduced into, your high street shops and high street brands and things like that, because it's too complicated for them, isn't it? But what I will say is active wear is a great shout, like active leggings and things. I find them really breathable and really nice. And like, I like tight fitting trousers, but they're not like solid. They're quite flexible, which is nice. Also, dungarees.
Yeah, I was going to say that's kind of the poster child for sensory-friendly clothes.
Dungarees are great. I mean, they're great because they're comfortable. They're not so great if you're out and, you need to go to the bathroom or something. They can be a bit of a pain. But dungarees are great, and I'm happy I discovered them because they're nice and loose and comfy. It's like wearing a onesie but outside. So yeah, recommend that if you struggle with your clothes.
Also, quite handily, dungarees are very non-gender specific,
which is nice because like that's another whole thing.
And they've got pockets.
They do. They have big pockets. Big enough for guinea pigs, in fact.
Yeah. Tested.
Yeah.
But small guinea pigs, not like enormous ones.
Yeah, like a teeny pig. But that's another thing with, I think, women's clothes in particular, that you tend to get weird shaping on them, and every place does different sizes.
Yeah, they're very unpredictable, aren't they?
Yeah, so like you could go into one place and you could find a pair of trousers that is really comfortable. Then you go into another shop and you get the same size, and suddenly like the waistband's really tight, or it's really tight around your thighs, or they're just generally too small. And you just think like that's a nightmare for like sensoriness, because it's like it's very rare to find clothes, especially as a woman, that fit everywhere properly. You've usually got to sacrifice something, and because I can't deal with like constricting clothes, usually I have to oversize a little bit, and so at least somewhere they're going to be too big for me. It's complicated.
But dungarees just go over the whole lot.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't matter.
Some people like wearing tight clothes, but if you wear something that's a bit tight and you're neurodivergent, then you can feel like you're actually suffocating in it.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
Well, when I was younger, I had a real issue wearing like ties.
Yeah.
And like even today, if I have got to wear like a suit shirt, I kind of need to have the top button not done up. I mean, I can kind of hide it. It doesn't need to be like open, but I don't like the kind of constricting feeling of a tie.
Yeah. My main issue used to be socks. I couldn't wear my socks the right way round because the seam on the end, kind of where it sits on your toes, used to drive me insane. So for years and years, I had to wear my socks inside out so that seam didn't press on my toes. It used to really annoy me.
And yet you still didn't figure out you're autistic until...
No, I know.
Not long ago.
I know.
Honestly, Doctor, there were no signs.
Yeah, I had to wear my socks inside out for about 10 years of my life because I didn't like the seam. I think I had an issue with, I used to have this horrible thing about like my nails coming off. And I think like feeling anything touching my fingers or toenails would send me into like this meltdown. And so I think part of it was like having this seam rubbing on my toenails made me think that it was going to like rip them off or something. Very weird.
And with that, I think I think we should probably move on to some of the events that are going on in the next week around the UK. The first one we've got for you is on the 8th of February between 10 and 11 in the morning. The Hole in the Wand, which is wizard-themed crazy golf in York, are doing autism-friendly sessions. Now, this is only the first of the year. There are others happening on the 21st of April, 10th of June, 23rd of August, 12th of October, and the 18th of December. But during these sessions, it says that house lights will remain on throughout the venue, smell units will be turned off, The soundtrack will also be turned off, limited numbers, staff will be on hand to answer any questions, and there's a chance to walk around the venue before starting your game.
That sounds very nice.
Yeah, and it's $4.99 per person. So yeah, the hole in the wand itself is a wizard-themed golf course, which is legally distinct enough from other popular wizard properties to, I think, be okay mentioning on a rather trans-positive podcast. That's. I think I got around that rather well.
Yeah, very subtle. Well, I like the sound of that, and to be honest, I like the sound of going to see the non-autism friendly version as well.
Yeah. I reckon if you're okay with things being a bit more spooky, then feel like go to the regular version.
But if you're not, and you know someone who's not, why not take them for a fun, wizardy, crazy golf?
That's not putting money into the pockets of you know who.
Well, I was going to say that's more sensory kind, but
Oh, that too, yeah. That too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that is on the 8th of February, but that's one of 6 sessions throughout the year. The next one we've got for you is happening on Saturday, the 10th of February, and it's our old friends at Neuro Hikes, which is a hiking group for neurodivergent people in Sussex. So this is happening between 11 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and they're walking around Pevensey Castle in East Sussex. And it's about a 5-mile hike, so 2.5 to 3 hours of actual walking. Meeting time is between 10:45 and 11, and they're meeting at Pevensey Railway Station.
Is that anywhere near where the Pevensey blue cheese comes from?
I don't know, that seems like a thing for you to check out. But yeah, more details are available on Eventbrite. If you Google Neuro Hikes Eventbrite, that will probably help. Adding in the word Pevensey will probably take your clicking down to 1. But yeah, that's happening on the 10th.
It is. They graze on the Pevensey Levels Nature Reserve, which is right next to Pevensey Castle.
Oh, okay. And then the last thing we've got for you today is happening from the 12th of February to the 16th of February. So this isn't technically next week, it's the week after. But we've learned our lesson about mentioning stuff which is on the direct Monday.
Yeah.
So we've given you a bit of extra warning for this. So this is a run of autism-friendly performances of Twelfth Night. So this is run by Flute Theatre at the Riverside Studios in Hammersmith in London. And it's more of an experience than actually going to the theatre. So it's not like going to see an autistic-friendly performance of Merchant of Venice, for instance. Although I'd say Shakespeare stuff is fairly autism-friendly because it's just talking.
I don't know. It's not very ADHD friendly, though.
No. So the idea is that up to 12 autistic individuals become the participants for each performance. I'm just kind of reading out what they've got here. So they sit with 7 actors in a circle on the stage, and then there's kind of sensory games, and the performance is adapted to the specific needs of each of the participants.
Sounds pretty cool.
So I think it's more about creating like the world of Twelfth Night and like bringing the people watching it into that world and then helping them to experience it rather than just putting on a play with slightly lower volumes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool because it's also a good thing for autistic people who are in the creative industry, which, as we've discussed a few times previously, there tends to be quite a few. And so, getting them involved in a kind of theatre environment, especially if they're young, that's a pretty good thing for them, I think.
But yeah, that is, it says £5 per family, but I get the feeling that it's the idea that if you've got one autistic person in the family, then they're the one taking part and the rest of the family is just there. So we'll call it £5 per participant. It's running every day from the 12th to the 16th of February. There are 2 sessions, each day. There's one at 10:30 for people 10 years and younger, and then one at 2 o'clock for people 11 plus. And this says there's no maximum age limit. So you could get 12 pensioners doing it. But yeah, we'll call it £5 per participant. And there are no online bookings for this, apparently. But you can go to riversidestudios.co.uk for more details. But the number you want to call is 0208 237 1010. But again, go on to riversidestudios.co.uk and all the details and then some are right there.
All the deets.
All the deets are right there for your delectation. But there we go. That's all of the interesting things we've come across on the internet this last week. If you can't remember a single word of what we've been talking about, which is fair enough, we do talk quite a lot of weirdness. You can go and follow our Instagram page at The Autistic Experience, which has references to all of the articles and events we've covered, so you can go and find them yourselves, read them yourselves, and probably press the appropriate buttons to book yourselves onto any of those things. But for now, I think it's about time we be off, because we've probably got something to do with guinea pigs right now.
Or something to eat.
Or something to eat.
It's usually one of the two.
Yeah, either eat or guinea pigs. You don't want to get those two mixed up. Otherwise you were in Peru.
I was going to say.
Paddington. Paddington's probably eaten guinea pig, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He comes from, like, Peruvian rainforest.
He's a bear
He's a bear as well. He will have eaten guinea pig.
That changes my
Yeah,
whole view
doesn't
on
come
Paddington.
across in the film, does it?
No.
That's not a face you look at and go, he's eating guinea pig.
Well, if he's proper Peruvian, then apparently they worship them over there.
Yeah.
Not like literally, but they celebrate the guinea pig.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have done it maliciously. He would have done it with respect to the guinea pig.
The guinea pig community.
I'm imagining like the herd of guinea pigs offering up a tribute every like X amount of time. It's like, this is our tribute to feed Paddington.
I'm just imagining more like a ritual just of guinea pigs. One of them lying on a sacrificial altar
Oh, Lord.
before a giant statue of Paddington.
Oh, God.
Like, this is our sacrifice for today
Oh,
to
God.
appease the great Paddington. And with that mental image, we'll leave you to it. So we'll see you again next week at noon British time for another episode of The Autistic Experience. You can go follow us on Instagram at The Autistic Experience for references to everything we've talked about.
Apart from the worship of Paddington.
Yeah, apart from
God.
that, obviously. That's just
not
between
been
us.
historically confirmed
No,
yet.
not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Give it time. Give it time. It'll be out on the Daily Mail. Go. Paddington shame. Famous bear pictured eating guinea pig. Anyway, we'll see you next week. I've been Kieran, she's been Chloe, and as always,
You go get that free lunch.
you really accelerated through that one, didn't you? You go get the free lunch. Like Doppler shifted to go, you go get that free lunch.
It's like if you hear the offer of like there's a free
You go
lunch,
get that free
you've got to be quick. You got to get the free lunch quick.
That's the sort of speed we're moving at when we go and get that free lunch. You go get that free lunch.